Hi, my name's Tracey and today I'm going to demo the 8-point lift. The 8-point lift is a relatively new procedure with the use of Allergan's Juvederm range. The main products that I'm going to use today are Voluma and also the lift. The procedure is different in each individual. The procedure uses cannulas and dermal fillers in order to create lift in the side or the lateral parts of the face. The main things that we use the 8-point lift for are for women that present that want volumization, i.e. they often say to me, look, I hate the sagginess, I have this pre-jowl, something that I didn't have. And one of the things that I always explain to patients is, well look, we don't get to 50, we don't even get to 40, and we suddenly gain excess skin. What happens is the tissue that's underneath, i.e. the muscle, the bone, and the fat resorbs back. I describe to them a table and a tablecloth. I explain to them that the table as we age shrinks, and so the tablecloth becomes loose and it doesn't fit. So I think that in any aesthetic procedure, one, it should be natural. Secondly, you should be able to identify the problem. And not everything is solved by Botox and dermal fillers. Sometimes we may have to use lasers, sometimes we may have to use some tightening procedures, but for today's purpose, it's the 8-point lift with the use of Voluma and some cannula work. Karen is my patient today. And Karen has a story. Karen was one of my first ever aesthetic practitioners, and she's excellent. But she hasn't had anything for a reason only Karen will know for the last 5 years. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build some volume back for Karen. I'm going to do it in 2 stages. You'll be able to see immediately after and halfway through exactly what those products have produced for Karen. I'm going to begin in the cheek, where we call the CK1, CK2, CK3 and CK4. Because in the 8-point lift, we have certain areas of the face that we inject. And they're the important areas that practitioners should understand, have the confidence to inject. And remember, you have to use enough product. The beauty about the 8-point lift is that you can always do it in stages, which is what I'm going to do for Karen. Always as a practitioner, start, if we can, in the cheek area. I always say it's bang for your buck. They will see a huge difference in using a small amount of product if you lift back at the side. So, Karen, I want you to sit up for me. And I want you to turn towards the camera. Okay, so if we look here, and I don't know if we can bring that camera any further forward, we have a pre-jowl sulcus. We've got huge loss of volume within the cheek and the malar area. The lower mouth, we've got a very underdeveloped lower chin. And this area I'm going to build up the chin area in order to produce more definition. But remember, for today's purposes, I'm going to do a split face. So we're going to start on this side, I'm going to sit her up again, I'm going to show you if we can see any difference. My whole thing with Karen is to volumize. On Karen, I'm probably expecting maybe 8 mil, which is quite a considerable amount of product. But again, if Karen was a paying client, I would have to explain that to her, otherwise she would be disappointed with the result. And I think that if you are a patient asking about a procedure, ask the practitioner, can I stage it? What other treatments do you offer? Can I have combination treatments? That way you will get a good aesthetic and natural outcome. Okay, Karen, let's pop you back. Okay, so for the purpose of this video, the areas that I'm going to treat are CK1, CK2. This is the zygomatic arch and the eminence. Another important part that I always use is what we call CK4. CK4 is going to allow me to access all of this area. I'm going to deposit boluses along the jawline. In between here, I am going to fill this area where we have got lost volume. I expect probably 1 to 2 mil within this area. In Karen also, you will see this alar tragal groove. And so again, I'm going to place round about 0.2 a voluma in this area. This area, we're also going to place onto bone some voluma in order to lift. Then I'm going to come down onto the chin. So CK1, CK2, CK4. That allows me to enter all of the jaw points. Nasolabial fossa, I'm not going to treat the nasolabial, I'm purely going to deposit onto bone in the prefossa area some voluma to lift. Okay, let's pop you back. Okay, so we have Karen's face marked out. As a new practitioner or somebody that is a relative novice at the 8-point lift, I would encourage them to mark first. I would also encourage them to know that when you stretch the skin, because it's this that we need to tether back, the marks will move. So you inject in front of the marks. You inject anatomically where you feel the product should go. So on Karen, I'm going to do the cheek area. What I want to do is I'm going to do, to begin with, the CK2. I go down, I touch bone. I always aspirate, and very, very, very slowly I inject in. On Karen, this first one, I'm simply doing a 0.2. You remove and you hold. The next one is the CK1. We go in, we go down, we aspirate, and we go in. Aspiration in all injection points, especially if we're using a needle, is imperative. These really are the only areas that I am going to use any bolus depositions. So we've treated CK1 and CK2. I'm then going to come on to the anterior segment. I'm going to protect the orbit, and once again I'm going to hold, I'm going to pinch, I go down to bone, I aspirate, and we're going to put 0.4. How do we feel, Karen?
Very feel everything.
I find as a practitioner that the injection they will be able to feel. The cannula is fantastic because it opens up a whole new arena of tissue augmentation. So there we have a cheek. And I have an excellent patient. Okay, can we just hold that for me, please? Okay, so now I am going to, we'll swap, Cami. Demo. I am going to use small injection, and then I'm going to use a cannula. A cannula is completely blunt. Excellent to use, they cannot feel it in the tissue, and it allows me as a practitioner to really contour all of this lower face. Okay, so the first thing that I want to do is that I want to get my entry point, which is a CK4, and it's around here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to find a spot, and I always twist, yeah? So I make my insertion point slightly larger. What I then do is I go in, and with my cannula, I need to be able to slide. So if you look with this, this is how deep I can go. So I'm right down underneath the skin, and what I want to do is I want to fill within this fascia. How are we feeling, Karen?
Okay.
Cool. So I've got a little bit of resistance, but what I want to do is I need to create lift further back. So again, with the cannula, very gently, you move in. So on the jawline, I'm going to go to this J1 and I'm going to deposit. Back here. So what we do is we're now going to use a cannula. We're going to go in and I'm going to fill within this preauricular area. You'll note that I can reach the jaw and all this area where we've got this volume loss. What you do is you pinch. Okay, you ready? Thank you very much. And you go in. And underneath the tissue. What you then do is you go up in front of the ear, because remember that if you look, we had volume. Got to be very careful of the parotid gland. So again, we're just going to fill, and you'll be able to see that I'm injecting as I come down. I then advance again in front of the ear. I deposit 0.1 and I inject back. Very slowly, take your time. I then come down here and again along. Now the patient will be able to feel this product immediately after in the tissue. It's important as a practitioner that we're going to reassure the patient that that will integrate within her tissue, yeah? Also, you have the choice of two products. You could use the lift in this area, or you can use Voluma. I like Voluma in the case of Karen because we need a thicker product and we need volume. How do you feel, Karen?
Okay.
And you can see with Karen's face, we've got masses of space to put it everywhere. You okay? Mm-hmm. So again, if you come out, you simply press in and you go back in. You okay, Karen? Mm-hmm. And we come down. Take your time. So again, I've used about 1 mil within this area. You okay, Karen?
Yeah.
And I think the patients, you know, it looks sometimes, okay, take that out and let's change again. It sometimes looks a little bit terrifying. So again, we're going to go in. And we're going to come down, and I'm going to aim down here. And there's a little bit of pressure being added, you know, when we're going across. Okay, how do we feel, Karen?
I'm fine.
Okay, and then out. So, how much product have we used? We've used around about 2 mil within here. I'm going to come along and I'm really going to mould this. So that's 2 mil of Voluma within. You okay, Karen?
I'm absolutely fine, yeah.
Okay, so I just want you to hold that, please. Okay, so then what I'm going to do, I'm going to come in underneath the fossa. So this is a very, very, very important area. We go down, we always aspirate because there is one of the main arteries underneath. and we don't want any inclusion. What we then do is we inject very slowly to raise just above the nasolabial line. Okay, everybody happy?
Yeah.
Okay, then what we're going to do, okay, can I have my small needle? We're going to come down, and remember, I've said we're going to do this in 2 stages. So we're going to come under this area to start to lift. This is C1, C2. What I always like to do is always like to come down into the marionette, just laterally to the OAF. I inject in. Okay, I stretch. I come out, and in I go. And I start to slide. Now, the patient can often feel, you okay? Just as I cross here, Karen, you will be able to feel it. Not too uncomfortable, but can you see where I am? So I'm heading to build out this crease, yeah? Again, I'm coming along and injecting back. I'm coming along and I'm injecting back. Along and I'm injecting back. And again down into the chin area, because I want, in a situation like Karen, to be able to rebuild this chin. How do we feel, Karen? You okay? Feels very, very, very strange, doesn't it? But the chin is often one of the areas on a man or a woman that we forget about and we don't restructure. Okay, can I have some thing, please?
That's what about the anaesthetic in the product is very good.
Yeah, there is some anaesthetic in the product, so. Okay, so we've used 3 mil, Karen, on this side, yeah? And again, don't be frightened to basically, excellent. Okay, right, Karen, let's set you up. Okay, and the other side will be a lot quicker. Okay, so if we look, we have built volume here, reduction in the nasolabial line. We've got no hollowing on this side as we have on this side. Karen, do you want to have a little look? Can you see? And that's with 3 mil.
Yeah.
That's with 3 mil. Yeah? So what I want you to do is I want you to go up and I want you to turn to the side, Karen. So you can see we've contoured the cheek, we've started to fill here, and I've started to define the jaw. If I go to the opposite side, yeah, we've got some pre-jowl sulking, we've got loss of eminence here. I want you to smile, Karen, for me. Okay, and then I want you to turn in here and look ahead. So again, it's volume. If you look here, we've built volume and we've lifted the face. Again, look at the nasolabial in comparison to this nasolabial. Look where the cheek lies. Yeah, this looks tired, this looks full. Okay, so on the left-hand side, we're not going to mark. What do you remember? CK1, CK2, CK4. So, I'm going to stretch my skin. I'm going to come into the eminence, down to bone, retract, and point 2. Again, tether the skin back, down to bone, and in. How do we feel, Karen? Perfect. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in this trago groove, hold the tissue in, bolus, 0.2. What I'm then going to do is I'm going to mould my cheek area. You okay, Karen? Perfect. Okay. CK4, so I can access all these areas. Cannula. Remember, I need to be able to reach down to all these, and we come out and we go in and we stay superficial. So when you get in here, you can slide. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come along pre-auricular and I'm going to retract back. I'm going to come down pre-auricular, I'm going to retract back. I'm going to come down to the corner of the jaw here where I want to tether back here, and I'm going to put a bolus in. How do we feel, Karen?
Okay.
And we're going to retract back. I'm going to go down, I'm going to retract back. Okay, so again, mouth area, I'm going to put a tiny drop in. I'm going to use a product just for demo called the Lift. The Lift is very much like Voluma, great hydrophilic, gives you great, nice tissue response, lasts about 15 months. Okay, I want you to pull out for me. And then again, you make a small thing and in we go. Okay, so again, what I'm going to do here, Karen, put a little bit of anaesthetic in with the product and we're going to come across. When you cross this midline, the patient initially can feel it.
It's not bad.
You can feel it, can't you, though?
I can't, yeah.
But I think it's something that you don't really need. You know, people say if she had had any anaesthetic, no. Okay, how are we feeling, Karen?
Okay.
And again, I'm just going to go back into my small insertion here, which is here, and I'm just going to get these very, very, very fine lines, which are here. Put my candle around, like so, so I can start to fill. Can you get me a concealer as well? Got any other product left over there? Is it all done? How do you feel, Karen?
Absolutely fine.
Okay. Excellent. Okay. Right, and again. If you give me a little bit. Clean the area and mould the area. So, in Karen's situation, we have simply used around about 6 ml of Voluma and a little bit of the Lift. Karen would then come back and she would see me again. Again, it could be 3 months, it could be 2 weeks. It depends entirely on the patient's budget. Bruising, I would say I would expect minimal. The patient will feel a little bit numb because of the anaesthetic that has been placed. But in general, I think that's a nice demonstration of an 8-point lift. So that's a demonstration of an 8-point lift. I would recall the patient in normally around about 4 weeks' time. It will take about 4 weeks for the product to integrate within the tissue. What do we bring them back for? Well, we're going to do some other areas. I would then start to work around Karen's lip. I would work on the perioral lines. But again, 6 ml of product I think is a reasonable amount of product to expect on a patient on a first visit. Yeah. Again, some patients will arrive and they'll just want a little bit of cheek. Yeah. Again, Karen had extreme volume loss. And again, I will now show you the before and after picture. Thank you very much. That's the 8-point lift at Tracey Bell.